Hi everyone, and welcome back to Herzography. Today I want to talk to you all about leaning into the moment and practice with purpose. Photography techniques that you can practice anywhere. Today I want to share a powerful mindset that every photographer, no matter your experience level, should embrace. It's the idea of leaning into the moment and practicing with purpose, even when you're not out in some epic landscape or dramatic location. Because the truth is, you don't need a mountain range or a perfect sunset to become a better photographer. Sometimes the best training ground is right in front of you. A single flower, a simple object, the lighting coming through your window. And when you approach those small moments with intention, you sharpen skills that will serve you everywhere. Why practice with purpose? When you're out in a brand new location, maybe you've hiked an hour or taken a flight to see a majestic view, and finally you've reached your location. Your mind is juggling all of these things at once. Where's the best composition? How fast is the lighting changing? What filter should I use? Did I pack the right lens? Should I use a tripod? Is a tripod positioned correctly? On and on and on. It's easy to feel overwhelmed. But when you practice at home or even in your backyard with something as simple as a flower, all of that pressure disappears. You already know the environment. You're relaxed. Your brain isn't distracted. This lets you focus entirely on the skill you're trying to improve. Just like an athlete running drills, just like a musician practicing scales, repetition with intent builds mastery. And that mastery shows up when you're in the field. You see faster, you react faster, and your confidence skyrockets. So what can you practice without leaving home? Again, let's break down some photographic techniques you can train with a simple subject like a flower, a leaf, a fruit, or even objects on your desk. So number one, composition drills. A single flower can teach you everything about composition if you let it. Practice rule of thirds, center the composition, negative space, leading lines using stems or shadows, using foreground elements, minimalism versus complexity, filling the frame versus giving it breathing room. Move your camera, get low, get high, rotate around the subject and watch how the background changes. This builds your instinct for framing scenes in the field. Next, exposure control. This is one of the best areas to practice without traveling. Try purposefully underexposing for mood, purposefully overexposing for softness, high dynamic range scenes, shooting into the light, background lighting techniques, creating silhouettes, manually adjusting your shutter, aperture, and ISO to see how each affects the final image. You'll get to a point where you can read the scene instantly and know the exposure without guessing. Perhaps make notes of exposure that are going to be used over and over again. All right, next, depth of field training. And flowers are perfect for this. Just pick up something from the grocery store, bring it home, and start experimenting. First, start with extremely shallow depth of field. f1.8, f2.8 if your lens will go just wide open, and experiment with that shallow depth of field. Medium depth of field around f5.6, and then deep focus all the way to f16. Focus on different parts of the flower to see how the image changes. This directly translates into shooting landscapes, wildlife, portraits, you name it. Next, manual focusing and focus precision. Especially with macro and close-up subjects, you can fine-tune your focusing skills. Practice Manual focus through the EVF. Use focus peaking. Use magnified view. Rack focus exercises. Focusing at different distances and angles. These skills make you incredibly efficient in the field, especially in low light or high detail scenes. Practicing with filters. Even at home, filters teach you critical control. Practice using polarizing filters on leaves or petals to see reflection changes. Neutral density filters for soft motion and using such as a small fan or a gentle breeze. Graduated filters if you're in a situation where you have a bright background and a dark foreground. Learning how filters work in a simple environment makes field use second nature. Next, long exposure techniques. You don't need waterfalls to practice this. Use drapes blowing in the breeze, a gentle moving plant, a small water fountain, passing clouds, even steam from a cup of coffee. Test it at 1 second, 5 seconds, 15 seconds, 30 seconds and higher. See how movement creates emotion. Next, advanced techniques you can practice anywhere. Focus stacking, both manual and using your camera's features. Perfect with flowers because the depth is shallow. Practice merging stacks for ultra sharp images. Macro techniques such as working with extension tubes, perhaps you have a macro lens, or if you don't, even working with close-up diopters. Light control. Use natural light, window light, or simple LED panel to sculpt your subject. Minimalism. Try isolating your subject against clean backgrounds. Color theory practice. Observe how colors change the lighting, direction, temperature, intensity, how things that are a certain color will affect the color of other things in that same scene. Focus studies. Use string lights or sunlight through leaves to experiment with backgrounds. Tripod techniques. Get used to locking things properly, leveling, stabilizing your camera. Building a routine that actually grows your skills. Here's how to structure your at-home training so your field performance improves automatically. Try things like this. On day 1, composition only. Ignore everything else. Try perhaps 15 compositions of one flower. Day 2, exposure control. Try different lighting conditions. Shoot high key, low key, and balanced exposures. Day 3, focus on precision. Only practice manual focus and sharpness. Day 4, filters. Hopefully you have them. Use a polarizer, an ND filter, or both, even indoors. Practice. Day 5, advanced technique day. Focus stacking. Panorama. Yes, even indoors, practice panoramas. And macro drills. Day 6, creativity play. Do whatever feels fun. No rules, just exploration. Day 7, review day. Look at your work. Compare your images. Notice improvements and patterns. This is exactly how professionals maintain sharpness, even on days they're not shooting landscapes. Next, the real payoff. Here's what happens when you practice with purpose. You visualize compositions faster. You nail focus on the first try. You understand exposure like a second language. You connect with your camera intuitively. You stay sharp, even during long breaks between field shoots. And when you finally get to that final magical landscape location, you perform at your absolute best. This is how photographers build consistency. This is how confidence forms. This is how you grow. So don't wait for that perfect location or the perfect moment. Lean into the moment you have and practice. A flower, a leaf, or even your living room can be a perfect world-class training ground if you approach it with purpose. Practice intentionally. Challenge yourself. Keep those skills sharp for the next big adventure. I hope you've enjoyed this. Hit the like, subscribe, and drop me a comment about what you plan to practice next. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in another Herzography video again real soon. Bye for now, and get out and shoot.